I mean, it's arguable that that's the main reason why Donald Trump was elected. Yes, he is a vulgarian with a louche personal life. Yeah, but he stands out against those guys. He knows the truth. He's willing to say it.
Cheaters win. Elites aren't punished. The thing today, the main thing is about cheating, and elites cheat. It works. They network, which Otto says is another name for corruption, which I think is true, and I agree. But regardless, it's rewarded. I saw a man who had a big part in the 2008 mortgage crisis, who defrauded people of millions, essentially. And not only did he not go to jail, he was walking free as a bird, happy as a clam, and he had like some $10 million in his bank account for cheating. And for cheating on a scale far bigger than even like morally questionable, flexible elites, which most elites I think would ever cheat. Like most elites might cheat a little and, scheme a little here or there. This guy was full barrel, complete and total dishonesty, defrauding, the people and leading to this economic crash. Nothing happened to him. Okay. So yeah, cheaters prosper. That's my position. Cheaters prosper.
But Burnham said in the Machiavellians that this was the inevitable result of democracy and the iron law of oligarchy. One of the figures that he quoted at great length was Georges Sorel, the French syndicalist. And Sorel pointed to the state's monopoly on violence as meaning that corruption would become unstoppable, eventually leading to, some sort of revolution. Because in the absence of the threat of physical violence, in a situation where the corrupt can buy off the regulators, perhaps even the courts, corruption can't be stopped. That the corrupt flourish, and everyone knows that they flourish. There's nothing that can be done to them. If you want to go back, 150 years even, people feared, malefactors feared a physical retribution. They don't fear it anymore. So what's to stop them? What's to stop them? I mean, you look at Jeffrey Epstein of Lolita Express infamy. The law was actually broken there. The deal that Dershowitz put together for him with the authorities was against the law. And somehow it happened. That this guy got like a form of house arrest or something for these heinous crimes. People see this sort of thing and their faith in the system crumbles. I mean, it's arguable that that's the main reason why Donald Trump was elected. Yes, he is a vulgarian with a louche personal life. Yeah, but he stands out against those guys. He knows the truth. He's willing to say it. So we're willing to put aside all the stuff which should disqualify him. Like, you need a guy like that, apparently, in these times. Because the politicians who say the right things, who maintain the decorum, they have been absolutely useless in stopping corruption.
Surveys are showing overwhelming support for raising taxes on top earners. The prospect of 70% tax rates for multimillionaires and special levies on the super rich draw howls about creeping socialism and warnings of economic disaster in much of Washington, but polling suggests that when it comes to soaking the rich, the American public is increasingly on board. Kevin.
Let's see. The Politico Morning Consult poll released Monday showed that 76% of registered voters believe the wealthiest Americans should pay more in taxes. A recent Fox News survey showed that 70% of Americans favor raising taxes on those earning over $10 million, including 54% of Republicans. After the disaster of 2008, the rich had the opportunity to demonstrate a little more modesty. Instead, they became more arrogant than ever, and now they're reaping the whirlwind. They're going to pay. It's a funny thing in politics. It's a funny thing in life, actually, that it's all been lowering taxes since John F. Kennedy, as I mentioned last week. And, well, raising taxes, no, come on, nah. Maybe, from 33 to 36% or something like that. But it gets suggested, well, no, we need big marginal tax increases. And suddenly, oh, no one supports that. Well, no one supported it because no one was advocating it. Now people are advocating it, and people who have shown some media savvy, like AOC, that if the rich had been a little more canny, they would have understood that their position was weak, because it's no longer a case of a rising tide lifting all boats. They abandoned that way of thinking decades ago. So why did they think that the middle class would support them in an era where the 1% becomes wealthier and wealthier, and the middle class gets squeezed? And especially when you have people like Kevin Williamson and Bill Kristol and the like arguing that, these whining people, these whining white people, we can replace them with foreigners. Foreigners are better than Americans anyway. Did these globalists think that none of this was going to come back to haunt them? I mean, I don't support these crippling marginal tax rates because they introduce such tremendous inefficiency and dishonesty into the system that only a fool is going to pay. I believe that the marginal tax rate in Britain under Labour reached as high as 97%, something like that.
Yes.
And only a fool is going to pay that. And you're going to have all of these schemes, licit, illicit, and semi-licit, to get around it. But it's not just that people believe that the rich aren't paying their fair share. And James Woods can say the top 1% pays more in the aggregate than the bottom, 35%? That's not the point. He misses the point. The point is that increasingly people believe that these rich people did not become rich through honest means. That's the point.
Wait, you're saying that in general? You're saying that overwhelmingly? You're saying that in half the occasions? What are you saying there, Kevin, in that last sentence?
No, I'm saying that there is a widespread belief, which is growing, that rich people are crooks, that they manipulate a crooked system in order to make the money that they do. People with older memories can look at what used to constitute being rich, and it didn't include a 400-foot yacht, for instance. It didn't include penthouse apartments worth, over $100 million. The scale of richness in the United States used to be much more modest than it is now. And this separation of the 1% from everyone else is accompanied with this hateful rhetoric from them, that you're losers and you should get used to being a loser. And by the way, Tyler Cowen, teach us all about cheap chalupas and teach us all about beans and how delicious beans can be when they're prepared properly. Because, hey, you proles, and not just the proles, the middle class, you're going to be eating a lot of beans because you're not even able to afford hamburger anymore. Again, did they think that this wasn't going to backfire on them?